All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Jaron Ennis' team has something to say about the Errol Spence Jr. situation and the Terence Crawford situation as far as the injury and that fight taking place. And Terence Crawford got an option if that fight is held up. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where people are crying out loud about excuses that Errol Spence Jr. is making for his performance against Terence Crawford back in July, as Errol Spence Jr. announced and that he had surgery on cataracts, had cataracts removed from his eye, and that was a reason why he was getting hit with so many jabs and hooks by Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, including some people associated with Jaron Ennis' camp, included, were not buying it. However, that opens up a wonderful opportunity for Terence Crawford and to not make any excuses himself. Now, before I get into the details of it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. It really makes a very big difference to the channel. Can't tell you how much I appreciate your support, but let's get into this because it's funny to me. So, Errol Spence Jr., according to Errol Spence Jr. detractors, is making excuses for his performance against Terence Crawford back in July. Personally, I think the man is just said he had surgery, explained that he had cataracts in his eye and had to have them removed, and said, "Why do you think that I got hit with so many of them shots?" This seems to me that it's either true or it's not true. It doesn't mean that he was going to win the fight either way. And either the man is telling the truth or the man is lying. If you're saying that you don't believe him and you think he just jumped into a wheelchair and went to a hospital and had a little girl push him out and just made up this story 7 months later or 6 months later, whatever it is, aka, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. If you think that you're not trying to hear it because it diminishes Terence Crawford's win, okay, I got no problem with that either. Do you, if you think that it is a quote-unquote excuse. So, though, I will say this, two things. Since we're not into excuses, let's not make excuses for anybody. So, for example, let's not make excuses about why certain fights can't happen at all. If you're not going to make an excuse about why a fight went wrong, let's not make excuses about why you can't make a fight to begin with. And that is my segue into the discussion about Terence Crawford versus Jaron Ennis. If Errol Spence Jr. cannot fight Terence Crawford right away because he has to recover for whatever it is, 4-8 weeks from cataract surgery, whatever it is, and Terence Crawford needs to make a fight, then as far as I can see out there in the horizon, there's really only one other fight for him of significance, and it is the guy that just took his 147-pound IBF title. And again, there should be no excuses not to fight the man if you don't have another fight coming up, right? Now, what would the excuse be? One of the many excuses given by Terence Crawford fake fans as to why the fight can't happen. Terence Crawford's at the stage of his career where he's looking for nothing but the money, big money fights. That's an excuse. It is a fact that you are using to excuse him from fighting the best competition in his own weight division where he holds belts. If he doesn't want to fight Jaron Ennis, then he should drop all the belts. What other fights, though, are these big fights that people are talking about? Who? Tim Tszyu at 154? Madmadov at 154? A Jermell Charlo of somebody fight for the a belt that very well may be vacated by Jermell Charlo, considering Jermell Charlo's legal issues that he's going through right now? Who? At 154. Canelo is not even a fight that is going to take place because Canelo Alvarez said he's not going to fight him. So what's the excuse to not fight Jaron Ennis if you're unable to fight Errol Spence Jr. next, right? Since we're not interested in excuses, let's not give anybody any excuses. I find that to be something that people are not willing to do. Say, for example, we talk about why a fight between Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis cannot happen at 135. Well, Devin can't make the weight. It's not comfortable for Devin. Isn't that an excuse? He just made the weight earlier this year against Lomachenko. I'm sure he can do it again. Or is it a fact that he can't make the weight? Is it a fact that Terence Crawford wants big money fights? So therefore, he won't fight Jaron Ennis because he's past that in his career? Is that an excuse, or is that the truth, or is that both? I get confused as to how things used to excuse actions and non-actions on the part of one person is a reason to certain people, but an excuse to others. See what I mean? Errol Spence Jr. is making an excuse. Even though he didn't make an excuse, he just said, look, it is what it is. I'm not asking you to excuse anything. But that's why I got hit with all them jabs. Didn't people say that there was something wrong with him? Didn't people who were just really, that didn't even like Errol Spence Jr. or big on Terence Crawford say something is wrong with that guy? Were they making excuses for him when they made that observation during the fight that it was like, man, what's going on with this guy? And people then spent time trying to figure out exactly what it was, and could be one thing, could be multiple things. But at the end of the day, we're going to find out when he actually make the fight, right? When they actually make the fight and they actually get back in the ring. I get a little bit tired of all of the selective outrage from people when they decide that one thing is an excuse, the other thing is not an excuse, right? If your fighter doesn't want to fight for monetary reasons, then that's a reason, as long as you like the fighter and you don't want to say anything bad about him. But it is what it is, right? Terence Crawford didn't take the Errol Spence Jr. fight back in November of 2022. But what was the reason? Well, he didn't get the offer that he wanted. Well, that was a reason. That wasn't an excuse, right? But anyway, I just find the whole thing quite funny. At the end of the day, I do want to see the rematch. If it is a fact that Terence Crawford, like Terence Crawford said, he ain't trying to hear it. Jaron Ennis' team said they're not trying to hear it. They don't believe it. Okay, well, if you get into the ring and you find that them jabs ain't landing like they were landing, and this guy is fighting a lot more efficiently and a lot more sharply, hey, man, it is what it is. But we'll see. Like I said, when the fight happens, let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.